Hello, my name's Karina Thompson and welcome to another episode in the series of Mastering the Basics of the mySewnet Embroidery software. If you're interested in digital embroidery or indeed subscribe or own a copy of mySewnet Embroidery, why don't you subscribe to our channel and that way you won't miss out on any of our episodes. I'm on a PC and the platinum level of the software, but what I'm going to show you today will be the same on any of the paid levels of the mySewnet Embroidery software. So I've got an embroidery loaded into my hoop, but it might be that I want to edit or change parts of that embroidery. And to do that, I need to select those aspects that I want to change. Now there is a tab up here, marked Select, which does have a number of selection tools, but I want to show you some shortcuts that I actually think you'll find much easier to use. So I've moved my pointer over this purple flower, and if I just click on it, can you see I've got a bounding box around it? It's a solid black line, and in this case I've got white nodes, and that allows me to do stuff like if I click on duplicate, I could duplicate that because the bounding box is around this aspect. I could then move it, click and drag it, or indeed, if I wanted to, I could hit delete and delete that aspect out. Again, let me just select that again. And can you see on the film strip over here, that aspect of the embroidery has got a blue box. That's telling me it's selected. Now, it might be you say, that's great, Karina, but in actual fact, I want to do something where I'm actually going to select several parts of the embroidery. I actually want to select the yellow flower. So let me show you how you can do that. Because I'm on a PC, I'm going to hold down my control key, but if I was on a Mac, it would be the command key. And just like before, I'm going to click on it. And can you see that has put a bounding box around it? Now my nodes in this case have gone orange. Orange is showing me that there's some kind of grouping selection going on. So remember that. And the nodes on the bounding box are orange. Now any orange nodes are indicating it's some kind of group selection. And that's going to allow me to move those designs around. But can you see, in actual fact, there's the ghosting of the original two separate elements. So that's showing me that I haven't combined them. It's a grouping selection. Now, it might be you say, that's great, Karina, but in actual fact, I need all three flowers to be selected together. And so I could carry that on by putting my pointer over that third flower and clicking. But let me show you another way. Over here on the film strip, stage 6 is that flower on the right-hand side. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hold down my control key and I'm going to click over here on the film strip. And straight away you can see that my bounding box now includes all three flowers. Now the dotted line is indicating that this is a grouping selection. And if I want to unselect, a very easy way to do that is I'm just going to move my pointer anywhere in the hoop and I am just going to click and straight away the bounding box is gone. Now it might be you say, well, that's great, Karina, but in actual fact, what I want is I want to select the flower, but I want to also select the another part of the embroidery that design's actually on. So I'm going to select, just like before, put my pointer on, click, and now I've moved my pointer up and I'm going to, again, just like before, I'm going to click, holding down the control key, and again, we've got a bounding box. I've got orange corners. That's telling me that this is a grouping selection. And it might be that you want to combine them on a bit more of a semi-permanent basis. We don't want to combine them yet, but we want to almost, it's the equivalent of paperclip those together. And that's where the group button comes in. So if I click on this group button, can you see, just like before, we've got the orange nodes, but the line has become a solid black line. And over here on the film strip, we've got a difference. Over here, you can see that we have an orange box, and that those two elements of the design have been combined. It's almost like when you group a design, you're neatening up the different aspects of your design. I haven't got quite so many stages here showing on my film strip, and that means I could move that around. If I wanted to, I could change the size of both aspects together. I could rotate it, and it might be that I then go, oh, I need to do something to elsewhere in the design. So just like before, I'm going to select that by clicking on it and make that changes. And then I might think, oh, actually, I need to go back to that original grouping. Now, before, if it was only a grouping selection with the dotted lines, I'd have to click on all those stages. In this demonstration, there are just two aspects of the embroidery in that grouping. That wouldn't take me very long, but you might find that maybe you have 6, 7, 8 groupings, aspects of your embroidery in a grouping, and that can be very inconvenient. But if I now go back, you can see it's all grouped just by clicking on it. Now, if you do say, but Karina, I actually need to make a change within that group. How can I do that? And again, it's not a problem. Let me show you. Up here, let me introduce you to the Ungroup button, which does exactly what it says. So if I click on that, you can see I've now got the dotted line, which is telling me I've got a grouping selection. If I want to click off that, I could then click back in and I can make changes to my embroidery like that. So my golden rules of grouping and selecting are: think about clicking directly on the aspect of an embroidery that you want to select. Don't forget you can also do that within the film strip over here on the left-hand side. And if there are orange nodes on your embroidery design or aspects of the film strip that are orange, that's telling you that there are groupings or group selections going on. If you found this a useful film, don't forget to like us, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel, where we're going to help you master the basics of the mySewnet embroidery software system.